You ever feel like there's a part of you that wants one thing and another part that wants something completely different? Well, you're not imagining it. Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible ideas from Daniel Kahneman's legendary book, Thinking Fast and Slow. We're going to get to the bottom of this riddle of our two selves, a hidden battle inside your own mind that shapes almost every decision you make. Kahneman kicks things off with this bombshell of an idea. Just let that sink in for a second. The person you think of as you might just be a story someone else wrote after all the action happened. This sets up the huge mystery we're unpacking today. If you're not who you think you are, then who's the storyteller? So to solve this mystery, we've got to grasp a really fundamental truth. You are not one single unified person. Nope. According to Kahneman, you're actually two completely different characters sharing the same body. And get this, they're almost always at odds with each other. Okay, let's meet the players. First up, you've got the experiencing self. This is the part of you that is living life second by second. It's the part that feels the sunshine, the sting of a bee, the joy of laughing with friends. It only exists right here, right now. But then there's the remembering self. This is your inner narrator. Its job isn't to live through anything. Its job is to craft the story about your experiences after they're over.
And this right here, this is where the conflict explodes. The experiencing self is the one who has to actually live through everything, but it's the remembering self that calls all the shots for the future. It decides where you go on vacation, which job offer you take, who you hang out with, and here's the craziest part. It often makes these life-altering decisions while totally ignoring what the experiencing self actually went through.
Now, what's so fascinating about all this is that the remembering self, well, it's a pretty lousy storyteller. It doesn't give you the full, accurate picture of what happened. Instead, it follows two really strange, really specific rules when it builds your memories. Okay, so the first rule is called the peak end rule. This basically means that your memory of an entire event, doesn't matter if it's a 2-week trip or a 10-minute phone call, is dominated by just two little moments: the most intense point, good or bad, and how it wrapped up. Everything else just kind of gets fuzzy and forgotten. And the second rule is even weirder. It's called duration neglect. This means that the actual length of an experience has almost no effect on how you remember it. An hour of annoying, moderate pain can actually be remembered as better than 30 seconds of intense pain because your memory doesn't care about how long you suffered, it just cares about that peak and that end. Now, I know this might sound like a cool little theory, but Kahneman actually went out and tested it in a very real and, let's just say, very uncomfortable clinical setting, and the results are absolutely mind-bending. So the experiment was with patients getting a colonoscopy. Group A had the normal standard procedure. Group B had the exact same thing, but, and here's the twist, the doctors added a few extra minutes at the end where the discomfort was much milder. Now, logically, Group B suffered more pain overall, right? Their procedure was longer. But because their experience ended on a less painful note, their remembering self told them a totally different story. They rated the whole thing as significantly less bad. How crazy is that? And this doesn't just work for painful things. Kahneman tells this perfect little story that shows exactly how this weird internal conflict plays out with moments of pure joy, too. He talks about this man who's listening to an incredible symphony. For 20 straight minutes, his experiencing self is just in heaven, total bliss. But then, right at the very end of the record, there's this awful, loud screeching sound. And afterwards, the man declares that the screech ruined the whole experience. But Kahneman stops and says, "Hold on, that's not true. The experience wasn't ruined at all. The guy had 20 minutes of pure, glorious musical joy. That happened. You can't erase it. What was ruined was the memory of the experience. The remembering self, just following its weird peak end rule, let one awful moment at the very end completely overwrite the entire beautiful story." So, we've got this powerful but super unreliable narrator living in our heads. Why does this internal tug-of-war really matter for the big, important decisions we have to make in our own lives? Oh, it matters a ton, because we are constantly making choices to make our remembering self happy, not our experiencing self. I mean, think about it. When you plan a vacation, are you planning for moment-to-moment happiness, or are you planning for the great stories and the Instagram photos you'll have after it's all over? So often, we pick the option we think will make for a better memory, even if we know it won't be the better experience in the moment. And that really is the profound takeaway here. Most of us are living our lives in service of our memory. We are optimizing our choices for the storyteller, the remembering self. And a lot of the time, that's at the direct expense of the happiness and well-being of our experiencing self. You know, the one who actually has to live through every single second of our lives. So I'll just leave you with this final big question. In your own life, in your job, your hobbies, your relationships, just take a second to think about it. Are your choices serving the self that lives in the moment, or the self that gets to tell the story later? And maybe more importantly, which one should you be trying to make happy?